Okay, hi Yuri, and welcome to your RE lesson for this week. So, as you know, last week we started our Famous Christians project, and I really enjoyed reading through some of the people that you have chosen. There have been some really interesting options. Some people have went for Martin Luther King. We have some people who have chosen William Wilberforce. Someone chose Billy Graham. So, some really interesting ideas. If you have not chosen a famous Christian yet, please have a look at the lesson from last week and do that before you start this lesson. We are going to be using that person for the next 5 weeks this half term. If you think the person you chose maybe is quite difficult and you can't find much information on them, change the person now and stick to it, okay? We don't want you to change your person halfway through. So make a decision today and stick to that person. So this week, we're going to be thinking about that person's childhood. Okay, so it would be useful if your famous Christian was quite well known. Again, you can use any of the famous Christians on the list I put on the lesson last week if you are stuck. So let's start with what we are doing today. So what do you need to do this lesson? Firstly, please can you get up your own Google Slides? You're going to start a Google slideshow and you will work on it the whole way through this project. So by the end of this project, you might have 30 slides with all the work you've done for it. So please keep that safe. You can obviously submit it after this lesson and then it will be stored on the classroom as well so you won't lose it. So please create your own Google slideshow and then remember who your famous Christian was from last week. Sorry, that is terrible grammar on your. Please ignore that. So yeah, remember who that was or find someone that you could use now. And then finally, you should be spending about 1 hour on your RE work every week. If you want to spend more than that, that is great. If you're really interested in this and you want to spend a bit longer, perfect. But you should be spending around an hour, okay? So if you've finished it in 20 minutes, you probably haven't added enough detail. So, as I said, this week we are going to focus on your famous Christian's childhood. So, task 1, you need to use the internet to research the childhood or upbringing of the individual that you have chosen. So if you've chosen someone quite famous, there will be lots on the internet about their childhood and their upbringing. This might be where you think, oh, I need to change my famous Christian. That's fine. Do it now before we do another few lessons. So in this task, you need to create 5 different slides on your Google slideshow, and you're going to make each slide about one different fact from their childhood. So what I do not want to see, and I will leave a little comment if I see this, is you having one slide with 5 words on it that says, she was brought up in America. Okay, that's not a detailed slide. So that might be your heading. And then below that, you might write about the town that she was brought up in. You might write about what the town was like at the time. Okay, so I want a heading on each slide, and that'll be the main fact. And then below it, I want lots of detail about that. Okay? So if you think, I don't really know what to look up, I've given you some ideas on this next slide. So where did they grow up? Okay, what was their family like? Were they brought up in the Christian faith? That's a really interesting one that you should all look at. Remember, we're looking at these people because they're famous Christians. So were their family Christian? Were they brought up going to church? And then did any big life events happen to them as a child? So is there anything big that happened in their life or notable that you might talk about? Okay, as you look on the internet at this person and some of the information about them, you will probably come up with other ideas. But these are some things to get you started thinking, okay? So remember, 5 slides, heading at the top of each one, which is the main fact, and then below it, detail, okay? As I said, I don't want any slides with 5 words on them, okay? That is not enough information. This task in total should take you about half an hour. So we're maybe talking 5 minutes a slide, all right? So please, if I see that your slides have taken you 2 minutes, I will not be overly happy. So 5 minutes a slide, put detail into it, and this will prepare you for task 2. Okay? It's really important you do this well so that you're prepared for task 2. So in task 2, your task is to create a diary entry from the famous Christian that you have chosen. So you're going to pretend that you are them in child form. Okay? So you might want to imagine that you're a 10-year-old version of William Wilberforce. Okay? A 10-year-old version of Florence Nightingale. A 10-year-old version of Martin Luther King. And you're going to write a diary entry from this famous Christian that you have chosen. Again, you can do it on Google Slides. Okay? It might take you 1 or 2 slides. That's fine. I don't mind. You can do it on Google Slides. And in this, it should be at least about 200 words. Okay, that's not actually that long once you start writing. You should include the facts that you find out in task 1. So that's why we did task 1. So you can use those facts when you are writing this diary entry. And it should be written in first person. So remember, you're pretending to be this famous Christian. Okay? And some of you are probably thinking, oh, but I have no idea what they would have wrote. Okay, that is okay. Be creative. Everything doesn't have to be factually true. So you're basing it on the facts that you know, but you can be creative with that. You can imagine how they might have thought or felt about certain situations. Okay? So be creative, put yourself in their shoes and think, okay, what might they have said if they were writing in a diary? And to give you a little bit of help, here are some sentence starters that you can use if you just want a little bit of help to get started. So again, you can tell the diary about how you find where you live, about your family, okay? But remember, a diary is usually written at the end of one day. So you can talk about if they had a big life event, you might want to write about the big thing that happened in their childhood, okay? So that is your task for this week. As I said, it should take you about an hour, okay? If it's taken you way longer than that, then maybe try to do it on less facts, okay? So this diary entry section should take you about half an hour. So try and spend about half an hour on task 1 and half an hour on task 2. So task 1 is the research that is then going to go into the diary entry. Final thing, your teacher is going to mark your diary entry. So please complete this to the best of your ability. That means think about spelling and grammar, think about capital letters, and think about the facts that you are using. So I want to see facts, okay? I want to see facts in your diary entry. I don't want it to be just based on your imagination. Imagination will be part of it, but it needs to be based on factual information. Okay, enjoy, Yuri, and as always, please do message, email us if you have any questions. And remember that on Wednesday at 9 a.m, we have the RE drop-in clinic for year 8. So if you're not sure about what you have to do or you're finding it really tricky to find information, come on to that drop-in clinic. I will be there and I will help you do that at 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Okay? Have a lovely week.